Welcome to the Broke Book Girls podcast. We're Anne and Bree, and this podcast is going to be your go-to destination for indie reads. We highlight incredible indie authors, explore new worlds, and introduce you to books that you won't find anywhere else. Tune in for your next read, a laugh, and a share in the joy of finding your home. Hello and welcome to the Broke Book Girls podcast, your go-to destination for indie reads, the podcast that is good for the soul but bad for your TBR. Today we're talking to a very special someone, but before we get into that, let's get straight into this episode, starting with our current reads. What are you currently reading, Bree?
I am currently reading one of the books that has been high on my TBR. I'm currently reading not Lost and Found. I just finished that one. It's been a long week, guys. I am currently reading A Wolf in the Garden by Allegra Hall.
Yay!
High on my TBR, highly suggested by Anne. She's talked about it so much on the podcast this year that I'm like, it is time, and it's perfect timing. Actually, too.
I mean,
Anne, what are you reading?
I'm currently reading Lacey Goes to Tokyo by C.H. Lynn. We've already had C.H. Lynn on this podcast, but this is her spy thriller series where we're following Miss Bell's travel guides, where it has like this 3-tier system. So these women are spies, but to hide that they're spies, they're actually escorts, but also to hide that they're escorts because sex work is illegal over in America, they're also pretending that they are actual bloggers for travel. So we're watching them as they're kind of dealing with all of these different masks that they have to wear and kind of getting information from the people that they are being hired to be their escorts and kind of like taking down the system from the inside. So Lacey's going to Tokyo to find out this information about a factory that is actually enslaving people from this town. And Lacey's getting all this information to kind of take that down. So it's really good, really interesting, and I'm just having a great time with it. And I was just like that's the premise of the book, but I had no idea before I went in that was the premise of the book. So I was like completely shocked that these women were escorts. I was like, wait, what is happening right now? I thought they were just spies, but it's really, really good. But yeah, Allegra, what are you currently reading?
I'm currently reading Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I'm reading it slowly just because of lifing, and because I'm drafting at the same time. And when I'm drafting, I read very slowly.
Yeah.
I find like some authors like need a whole lot of like input. They read like voraciously, and I will go through breaks where I'm not drafting as much, and I'll read like quite a lot. And then if I'm heavily drafting, then I will read less.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. I know some authors, they don't read at all when they're drafting or writing at all, just because they don't want that external input. But yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I've read Bride and I'm really excited for Mate. But today we are joined by the wonderful Allegra Hall. She is one of my favorite authors, if you don't know, because I've been talking about her in every episode pretty much. So I'm very, very excited for this interview. So please introduce yourself, Allegra.
Kia ora. So, I'm Allegra. I write monster romance. I'm branching into Omegaverse as well. I have plans to do a mafia romance in the future as well, but it's just all about timing. Yeah.
And Stacey said mafia and she went, oh.
I have to fit everything in. And I'm currently like 8 months pregnant, so I'm going to go on maternity leave soon. I'll be like disappearing for like 6 months kind of from social media and stuff, and then resurface. So yeah, that's me. Yeah, I mean, I guess I write paranormal as well. Like, it's monster and paranormal, my main series. I think I love my series and I love the universe and all of it, but in terms of like it being marketable and stuff, I can tell you now, like, I know where I've made mistakes, like changing genres. You know, some are monster, some are paranormal, and making book 2 like this guy that like so many readers hate, and then I have to be like, trust me, just read him anyway, like you will love him. So yeah, but yeah, that's me. I'm currently eating a salad, so like apologies, but I'm hungry. So, yeah.
The people who everybody is used to, it's either one of us is generally eating.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, it's Bree.
Hey guys,
she has a busy life, whereas I'm at home, so I can eat before we film.
I will come. I'll be like, I'll get a thing. This is what we're doing then, and I'm like, okay, when do I have to be home so I can do this? And then I'm like, you're gonna have to excuse me. I am gonna be eating.
We love the dedication. So, before we get into the bulk questions of our interview, we like to do our rapid fire questions. So that means Bree is going to ask you some random questions that you have 60 seconds to answer. Our time to beat is 51 seconds. So hopefully we can do that. There is one question in here that kind of stumps everyone, so just be prepared for that. And we don't really want any explanations, just first thing that pops into your brain. Are we ready?
You got this. I believe in you.
I believe in you too. All right, let me just get a timer on. Alrighty. Are we ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, go.
Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Kindle or physical?
Kindle.
Villain or hero?
Hero.
Favorite book?
Bride.
Villain or favorite food?
God, chocolate.
Spice or no spice in books?
Spice.
Sweet or savory?
Sweet.
Romance or thriller?
Romance.
Comedy or mystery?
Comedy.
Morning or night?
Night.
Lots of garlic or not lots of garlic?
Lots of garlic.
Ice drink or hot drink?
Iced.
Movies
seconds.
or TV shows?
Movies.
Call or text?
Call.
City or country?
City.
Oh, 8 seconds to spare.
Ooh, nice.
So close.
The call or text one, some people also go, ugh. I don't think many people have actually said call.
No, I hate calls. Says the person doing a podcast right now, but...
I'm a millennial, so it's like, I'm just like that next level of, like, my teenage years were calling people, Yeah. Not, and like, I think I got my first cell phone when I was I 16 or 17? So it's like, but basically it's often like laziness. Like I'd rather just put a phone on,
on speaker.
Yeah, and just keep doing stuff. And
I'm also one of those people. I think the phone anxiety fears me because I call people all day, every day at work, and I'm leaving voicemails, and I know people probably hate it, and I send them a text, but when it comes to, like, my best friend, like, I'll just be like, you're either getting a voice note or a phone call, choose. Like, one way or another, I am not texting right now. Like, you are having my voice.
That's right.
Yeah, I do voice memos with my bestie, and I'm like, this will be quick. Like, I'll tell her that.
10 minutes later.
Or just
like an hour.
voice.
There'll be like an hour of voice memos.
Yep.
And then I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm wrapping this up soon.
I had that the other day. I was voice noting Zoe, and I just started, and then I was doing things around my room, and I was just la 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 la, and then all of a sudden the little timer comes up, in red, and I'm like, I think I'm about to run out of time. Here's the first 10 minutes of my ramble. I'm going to send you another couple. It's so much easier. Texting is great, but, like, voice, you can actually hear how a person is feeling as well. Like, you can't hear tone through text.
Yeah.
You can assume tone, but you can't actually hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Alrighty. Anyway. Shall we get into our first question, Bree?
Yes, we shall.
Have you got the document open?
Yes. I'm just trying to. I had it zoomed in on like our 60-second rapid fire, so now I'm just zooming out and trying to get it to where I want it to be.
Yeah.
Wait. Alrighty. So, wow, what was you? That's how my questions start. What was you inspiration to write monstery vibe romance? What was you? I'm sticking to it.
What was my inspiration for writing monster romance?
Yes.
I after I had my son, he's 5.5 now. I got back into reading like a year after having him, and it wasn't that long after getting into it that I started seeing Morning Glory Milking Farm being recommended a lot and stuff. I might have the timeline wrong. It could have been a year into my reading journey or something. But once I read that, I was like, "Holy shit! This is like, I love this book. Like, I absolutely love all of C.M. Costa's books. She's an amazing writer." And then I kind of got into other monster romances, and I have always been a paranormal girly anyway. You know, like Twilight. I was one of those twihards.
But who were you? Were you Team Edward or were you Team Jacob?
Team Edward.
Yes.
But yeah, I was Team Edward. But the books are so addictive, right? Those ones, you know. I'm aware of the flaws of them and stuff, but they're still like so addictive, those books. And I was definitely Team Edward at the time, and still now. But I haven't read them for a few years or anything. But they are one of my reread ones.
Yeah.
If I've just like.
Yeah.
It's a yes, go back to when times were simple. Considering it was what, Twilight.
Oh. Has
We
her.
we lost her. Oh no.
Stop recording.
Oh no. Stop.
So we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we are back. If my words are working. So
difficulties too.
Allegra, you're talking about Morning Glory Milking Farm.
I was talking about what influenced me to write monster romance.
Yeah.
So I'd read that book. I'd already been like a paranormal girly. I read all of Sam's books that were out at the time. And then I read a bunch of other werewolf or wolf shifter stories. And I've always loved that kind of shit, and so I wanted to write, I knew I wanted to write like a wolf MMC. Sorry, I've got like lettuce in my teeth right now. That's right. It's like really annoying. This was the wrong meal for a podcast. Anyway, I have been writing for years and years and years, but had been waiting for like the right kind of story to appear in my brain. Because, and honestly, because I used to write fan fiction. I'm not going to say which thing. It wasn't a big thing, but I just.
We're going to talk afterwards.
Yeah, no. You don't need to read the crap that I wrote when I was 18 and like learning to write. But this is where a whole bunch of writers come from. It's like, because you've got to practice somewhere, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I'm all for like people practicing like on fan fiction, or like, a lot of people do like their own stuff with Wattpad and whatever as well, and things like that. But I was really fearful that I couldn't world build.
right.
Because that part, like creating a whole world, a universe, and all of that stuff, that was almost like the hard thing for me. I would find sometimes that I would think about characters, but then doing that next stage was tricky. And so I was into monster romance. I also like absolutely smashed through what was available then of Ruby Dixon's Ice Planet Barbarians.
Yes.
And the the follow-on ones, and then it goes into space, and like I read them all, you know, which like I'm a bit behind now, but I think at the time I must have read like at least 35 books, you know, like of hers and stuff. So I already knew. Oh, and I've been reading alien romance since like 2016. Yeah, so all of that is like my background influence for writing monster romance, and then Van and Ellie's characters popped into my head one day, and I literally was like, "These are the characters. This is what I'm waiting for." Like I just knew, I just absolutely knew that, like, this was the start of something, and suddenly I could do it. I had already been trying to write werewolf stuff before that. Like I'd been thinking of things, but I couldn't make anything fit, and the world building wasn't there or anything like that. So yeah, so that's kind of what led me to doing it. Is just sort of it's what I'm into anyway. The decision to do monster romance over paranormal, that is something that I did like specifically, and it was to do with my feeling that if I wanted my debut novel to have more eyes on it, it was going to be easier to be a slightly bigger fish in a smaller pond than a smaller fish in like the ginormous pond that is paranormal romance, because that's huge. And again, like I was already loving the monster romance aspect of it, you know. But it's like A Wolf in the Garden could have been written without the monster fucking scenes, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's not the the plot still works without it.
Yeah.
I you know, so I that was a deliberate choice to go, okay, like monster romance is on the up and coming genres right now. It's very popular, but there's not like a huge amount of books available. It's also like got like on Instagram at the time and still now, it had like a really strong community of readers. And so I was like, you know, and I was already kind of on a different Instagram account, like a non-author account. I was already following all of these readers accounts and things like that, and enjoying them, and engage, like not fully engaging, but like liking, you know, and
Yeah.
stuff. The monster romance stuff. So it just felt very natural to go that way. Yeah.
I love. Yeah, monster romance is very popular. Like,
Yeah.
and yeah,
It's
it's
it's gotten more and more popular, and it took me 10 months to write the book, like the first book, and in that time it was like more and more and more books were coming
yeah.
out, more authors were joining the genre, all of that. Yeah.
So, what was your inspiration? Like, what was the initial idea for the Unraveling Monsters series?
um so the Unraveling, I guess I should explain it for people who haven't, like, have no idea, but there's this concept in my world that I've done, and this is the first book, and this is the second book that I beg readers to read. um, that that the Unraveling is like a global event that happens 2 years prior to the start of this book, um, and it basically is something where the glamour falls away from the world. So there's two realms in this universe, um, and one is the realm where all or most of the kind of paranormal and monstrous creatures live, and then the other world is Earth. It's the humans and stuff. Except actually, a whole bunch of the paranormal people have been living in like this realm the whole time, but they've been hidden. In plain sight by magical glamour that they actually have no control over. It's people in the first realm, but like who, why is this? why are they controlling it? There's still things that like I'm yet to like fully explain.
There's a lot of questions to be answered.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. Is
Yeah.
we get to find that out as the series goes on, more and more. But yeah, that they have been controlling it for like thousands of years, essentially. That anyone that steps, as soon as they step into what we call the second realm, the Earth, like the normal world, and even that wording, like the first realm are the is the paranormal realm, because actually it's like it's talking about like who's in power and who's not really, and the second realm is actually the realm that we live in, stuff. And yeah, as soon as they step through into here, they look human, and they have to act human. It's like it's a rule, right? Like everyone just has to be human, and the humans can't know that they exist. So that was the way that things were. That was the status quo. And then suddenly this unraveling happened. People woke up one day, or it happened in the middle of the day, depending on wherever you were in the world. And suddenly your neighbor was an orc. Or like, you know, your class teacher was a werewolf. All these different things, all these different people, like their glamour fell away and they took their true forms. Again, it wasn't a voluntary choice for them, it just happened. And then you have other people who are waking up and discovering that they are also, like, normally not like I'm fully a werewolf and my parents have been werewolves and they never told me, because I don't think that really would happen anywhere. Like those families have always passed on like the knowledge to their children and things. But people like the FMC in this book, who has like what her father is someone that she never knew. Her mum just had a one night stand, and then so she woke up and realized that she had pointy ears and clearly wasn't fully human, but she's got no other knowledge of what that means or what she is. And that's kind of where we start off. So yeah, so what inspired the unraveling? COVID. That's
That's a good time.
Yeah.
yeah.
The world
So
unraveled.
yeah.
A
So
global event.
basically, when I started writing this, like I had the characters, and it was the end of 2022 when I started drafting, and everyone was saying you cannot talk about COVID in your books. Like COVID doesn't exist in romance because it's like it's too much. It's too much for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I get that, but we have all also been like really severely impacted by this pandemic. Like there's been like a huge cultural shift worldwide, and it's ongoing. And I would argue it's still, we feel the impacts today. Things that are happening in the
Yeah.
world right now are
Absolutely.
directly because of what's happened. So the unraveling is an allegory for that. It is a very different global shift. It's not like it's a disease. It's not a pandemic, but it is a complete cultural shift for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a very clear before and a very clear after.
Yeah, definitely. I can definitely see that, especially with things that came out during COVID, like the racism and the whole divide between vaccinations, non-vaccinations, all that kind of thing. So that's definitely, I wouldn't have even thought of that. That's a really good allegory for COVID.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't even I haven't intentionally gone, oh, like this happened in COVID, so I'm putting it in my book.
Yeah.
Apart from the odd mini reference, like right at the beginning, where Ellie is explaining what happened, because the book starts 2 years later, and she talks in her monologue. She talks about waking up, and she had these texts like, "Oh my God, Shirley Smith is an orc," and everyone's rushed to the supermarket, and there's no toilet paper left.
I did because
Which
I
is
only
yeah,
recently because I'm halfway
yeah,
through and
yeah.
I started at like 9 o'clock at night, so I finished Lost and Found, and then I
Mm,
jumped straight into A Wolf in the Garden, and I went, huh, I
mm,
remember stuff, and then
yeah.
now that you've said it's like after like post COVID times, I'm like, oh my god, this really is like, it's like when we woke up, and the government saying, right, we're going into lockdown, like everything is fucked, and everyone was stressing and going to the supermarket and panicking over fucking toilet paper.
And the Aotearoa experience, I think, was very much like that as well, because we had bloody, I mean, I loved it. I was severely impacted by COVID because I had my baby in the first level 4 lockdown.
Oh,
And the
wow.
hospital that I had him in had the most severe of policies. So I ended up with emergency, trigger warnings. I ended up with an emergency C-section, and then my husband was shoved out 2 hours later, and I didn't see him for 3 days. And there was negligent care, and that made me sicker rather than better. It was horrific, which is why it's taken me 5 years to have another baby.
Fair.
I had to get over the first experience. But and then this one's been fun.
Yeah, I've seen your stories.
Yeah, it's been dramatic. Anyway, so I was severely impacted by the lockdowns, but at the same time, I'm still so pro them. Do I disagree with some of the policies that individual organisations took, like the hospitals? I think they needed to take into account certain things like staffing and things like that.
I don't get me started there.
No.
don't get me started.
It was a matter of so my antenatal group, we ended up doing we actually went to the Herald, and then we did a big complaint to the hospital took it really seriously, so we did this thing with the community care board. So they actually used academics and people that aren't with the hospital, and they have a panel of I think it's about 13 people, and they will have these meetings, I think, every few months. And if there's any complaints that come up, people are welcome to come and talk in person or video call in, and then they feed it back to the hospital, and hospital policies change. So we managed to get the hospital policy changed between lockdowns, so that the second lockdown, partners were kept in the hospital the whole time, which makes more sense. And I'm really pleased that we did that. So anyway, but so I was impacted, but yeah, it was crazy times, because I remember, it was 1:00 and you tuned into the TV and Jacinda would talk every single day and update us on COVID numbers and things like that. And yeah, so just getting that general vibe. And there's a story that I started and then I haven't finished it. That was actually when the unraveling hit. So it's another romance between characters, and it's starts when or just before the unraveling, and kind of covers that. But I just haven't finished that story. A few chapters are up on Patreon, and then I kind of fizzled out on that one for a bit, and one day I'll finish it. But yeah.
Bodybuilding, it's fine. Damn.
Yeah. So that's that.
Wild.
So wild. I just can't get over.
I mean, it's a really good way to kind of writing, not actually naming it as COVID, giving it another, making it into a different world. It's a really good kind of healing almost opportunity. Because it was pretty traumatic. You cut off from people. People's family members were dying, and you couldn't go into hospital to see them. It was a fucking event.
Yeah,
it was an event. Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of writers will process stuff in their lives through writing. But yeah, for me, it was just and once I had that idea as that was part of the world building, a before and after, it was really easy to just go from there, And like I said, it's only the starting point of the world building.
Yeah.
I don't think about COVID when I'm writing Unravelling Monsters now or anything.
Yeah.
but I also knew that it would be something that readers, like, they wouldn't necessarily know unless I specifically say what the inspiration was, or what it's an allegory for, but that there would be an intrinsic understanding of a before and an after,
Yeah,
because we've all
definitely.
lived through it. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
What's
Well,
your next question, Brie?
my next question is one question. What was the most challenging part? So I haven't read book 2, sorry.
Okay.
um, what was the most challenging part of writing the relationship? I can English. Guys, I'm sober. Between Ellie and Van, as well as the relationship between Zach and Rose.
Okay. With Ellie and Van, I like the fact that it is the second chance. Now, I've later learned, because it's my debut novel, and I wrote it, and at the same time as writing it, I was reading the craft books that I could get my hands on.
Mm,
I mean, there's so many writing craft books out there. Because, like, if people write fan fiction, a lot of people write fan fictions where there's no ending. Like, it just keeps going and going and going and going and things. The understanding of, like, romance story beats, of tropes, it's not really there.
Yeah.
Now, not all fanfic writers. There's some amazing fanfic stories and stuff, but because it's not something that you're doing for profit, you're not taking it like. At least I didn't take it seriously to, like, I have to learn how to write a romance novel. I need to understand, like. So I did for this book. I was like, right, I'm gonna get this right as much as I can. But one thing that I didn't understand fully was sort of the expectations around second chance romances that that people kind of have by vibe. So my second chance romance, and it's more actually about how I advertise it, because what A Wolf in the Garden is actually fated mates. Like,
Yeah.
that is the core trope. That's actually the core trope. But when I first released the book, I released it saying it's second chance. The second chance is resolved by 21% in the story.
yeah.
The second chance romances shouldn't resolve, as if that's the core trope, until about 90% in the book for a lot of people, like maybe 80%. It's normally a slow burn. This is not a slow. I don't write slow burns
Oh
typically.
no, I appreciate that so much.
I
I'm like, as I was reading, I'm like, this is not a slow burn. Thank God,
love,
I read so many slow burns. I've been tortured too much.
yeah. I think I'm just a little bit impatient in that way and stuff. And
Yeah.
like, I have read some amazing slow burns, but I don't read them anymore typically. Like, I will normally go for, like, faster reading books, and that's just me. And so, like, I tend to write that way as well. But yeah, so the challenging part was the second chance, because the characters told me that they were second chance. So when I say that they appeared in my head, the day that they appeared, I saw them on a beach, and this scene doesn't actually exist in the books, but it's like I saw them on a beach together. I saw them interacting, and I knew that they loved each other, but they weren't together, which meant that they had already been together
Yeah.
Yeah.
and something had happened. And there was no changing that, because, like, when I get characters, and, like, I think different writers will do different processes. So I'm sure there's people out there that go, okay, I need this character to exist, and they're going to need to be like this and this and this, and I'm going to pull it together and make a character. That doesn't normally happen for me. It's normally like they just appear, and that's who they are. And I can't change that. I can't go, oh, well, actually, no, I don't like you like that. I'm going to take that part away. It just
Change.
doesn't work. So yeah, they appeared having already been, like, they were exes at the time. And I was like, fuck. Like, okay. So that was the challenging part, was figuring that out. Because I'm, like, I mean, and I see people, like, the main criticism for people with second chance is like, why did they break up in the first place? Like, people have broken up, they shouldn't be together again. Like, no, And, so I'm like, well, valid, so like then the challenge is like actually figuring out like what would have broken them up and what is still valid to like get them back together again and things like that. So that was the challenging part, is sort of like how to write that, how to progress that relationship. And it's really interesting because the other thing about second chance romances is people go on about the grovel scene.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like if I do this, have you read the? Have you read like what?
I cried.
I know. So if you understand the significance of this, then you get that that's actually a big grovel, right? And if someone has kept hold of like a ponamu that they were supposed to give someone for 9 years, and they've like been filled with guilt this whole time, they've carried it around the world, it's got their wairoa attached to it, and then they give it to her, like that's a big thing. But I get some reviews and they're like, he wrote her a letter and that was it. And I'm like, yeah, I understand, because and this is me like writing from a Māori perspective, and like again debut novel, like not quite thinking, okay, maybe I needed to explicitly explain that even in more detail. But then it's tricky, right? Because it's like, at what point do you start like over explaining,
Spoon feeding it to people.
spoon feeding it in a way that is like gonna take you out of the book, because we're not reading Wikipedia, we're reading we're reading a novel. So it's like, so there's so that's the one other challenging thing, I think. And like, again, people can consume my books however they like, they can leave whatever reviews, I don't care, it's fine, I'm not offended. But it is something that in hindsight I'm like, oh, okay. Like I can see if people didn't make that connection about the significance of it, of what Van did there, then they don't view it as a grovel. But it kind of is, like it. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, when I first read A Wolf in the Garden, I didn't know it was second chance, and then as I was listening to the audio and we see their first connection like again, I'm like, holy shit, this is a second chance! I didn't know that. And normally I'm not one for second chance romances, but this just worked for me in so many ways. So I love that.
It was exciting because of the unraveling.
Yeah.
And this really isn't a spoiler because this is like on the blurb or whatever, But she didn't know when she was with him the first time, when she was a teenager, that he was a wolf. So when she sees him, he's clearly changed because he's
bigger.
He's grown like, an additional.
He's a
like,
man.
Yeah, 6 inches taller. I mean, he's got his sharper teeth and his eyes and stuff, and he's just like, very obviously a wolf. Like people can kind of tell from those kind of markers. Plus, her friend is telling her that she's with at the time, and it shocks her. It adds an additional shock value to seeing your ex, to see your ex, and then realize that they weren't human in the first place. And then at the time, she's still hiding her non-human nature from everyone. So it was a very fun dynamic to write.
Absolutely.
But definitely the challenge for Van and Ellie was sort of balancing that second chance, and when do you switch over to their new romance? So I stand by the choices that I made in my book, but I can absolutely see in terms of marketing. So I switched my marketing at that point once I realized, which to be honest I didn't fully realize until I went to a conference, the RWNZ conference, and I think that was probably like 10 months post release, And then I went to Becca Syme. She's another author, and she does author coaching, and she talked about tropes, and she talked about building tropes like a house. Like if you've got a core trope for a book, you've got to build all of the walls of the house, and if you don't complete the house, then it falls down and it upsets readers. And I was like, oh,
that's why the second chance isn't working.
The dots connect.
And it's like, because you can have like multiple tropes within a book, and so it's like a mini trope, but it's not the
Yeah.
full trope. The full trope is the fated mates. And I love paranormal romance because of fated mates. Like that's like, I love that trope. So yeah, and then with Zack and Rose,
Yes.
so I know you asked about that as well. And the challenge for writing them is obviously that she's a ghost. How do you give a ghost a happy ever after? But I do.
You did very
Yeah.
well. I very much enjoyed that.
Thank you.
I had no idea of where the story was going and how it was going to be a happily ever after, and like you just did it so well.
Oh, thank you. That story came out, and see, this is the thing with the other thing about my series is that I have the basic plan in my head of like the core things that I need to tick off as we go on through the books and like the ending and whatnot, the ending of the series. But there's a lot of room for changes and for like creativity to pop up and things. So even mid book, ideas can come to me, or like partway through a series. So Zack and Rose weren't going to exist. And then I had reached out to Eva Priest, who runs all of the Monsters in Love anthologies, and I said to her, I love those anthologies, and it's my dream to be in one. And she messaged me back and was like, well, I'll put your name down for like the wait list. And then messaged me a few months later and was like, this is the book this is the theme, and like you can be in it if you want to. And I said yes. The theme was Underworld, and I prefer to write, if it's the monster romance stuff, I still prefer to write within my Unravelling Monsters universe.
Yep.
So I kind of was like, fuck, how am I going to do this? And that's how I ended up with Zack and Rose. And yeah, I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't read it or anything, but like being Māori, I didn't want like writing within the theme of underworld, like, and there's tikanga around death and stuff. So I wrote it in a way that to me I'm like comfortable with it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And if people read the book, they will understand what I mean by that, you know.
Yeah.
But cause I'm not gonna spoil it. But yeah, so I like, again, that influenced it a lot in terms of like how I came to that conclusion of like the way that I was going to do things. Yeah, but it's crazy to think of like these random events that will come up and will influence like how I develop further lore in the universe and things like that. Yeah.
And I just love, like, in Lost and Found, like the little references to other things within the other stories. Because I messaged you the other day and I was like, oh my god, is this thing? And I was like squealing about it when I realized what it actually was. And I love having a wider universe, and then each book just kind of, you get like little Easter eggs or little knowledge drops, and I just loved it so much. Yeah,
I love doing that. Like, that's my favorite thing. So every book connects to everything, and there's stuff in A Wolf in the Garden that right now I know readers are just like, that's just a random, you know, like that's just that just happens.
Yeah,
whatever. That's just like that means nothing.
But it will mean something.
So you're Easter eggs. There are Easter eggs.
Yeah. And they might come out,
wait.
you know, 1, 2, 3 books from now. Yeah. So it does all connect together.
Nice.
Yeah. So your books feature a lot of Māori representation, as we've already talked about. I love it so much because my partner is Māori. Why do you believe it's so important to feature these characters and this culture in your stories?
I mean, for me, it was seeing myself in a romance novel.
Yeah.
And like, I'm also like, I'm white presenting, and I'm never like saying that I'm not, you know. And I definitely benefit from white privilege because of that and stuff. But as I know that you will know, for Māori, it's if you whakapapa Māori, you are Māori. You know, there's not a question about that. And that's just part of our culture and stuff. So even with Ellie, her character design was one that I did for me, because often, and again, we haven't had that many romance novels out there with Māori characters in them. Less so with them as main characters. And so I wanted that. I want to see more Māori characters out there. And it's, it's because we have less romance writers coming from New Zealand. And you might get the odd romance writer from overseas writing in New Zealand-based books. So there's a rugby series written by, I've forgotten her name, but I did read one of them, and it was done well. So she lived in New Zealand for like 18 months. She's an American author, and wrote a series basically on the All Blacks. I'm like, that's brave, but like
Very
she did well.
brave.
Yeah, and I think she's got a Māori MMC in there, for one of her books and stuff. But yeah, it's just not common, and I want to, like, when I wrote A Wolf in the Garden, I was like, if I'm going to set a book in New Zealand and I wanted to do that, then I'm going to start with a Māori character. Like, how could I not? Like, that was sort of my feeling. Like I kind of have to. It almost feels like a moral obligation, at least for me. And when I saw the cover, like Ellie's wearing her panamu on it, like I cried. Like, like it was just to see that representation there. But yeah, like even with Ellie's design, that she is like mixed, I guess people would like, we don't use that term in New Zealand. We just say they're Māori, right? Ellie is Māori. But like, to explain it to people from overseas and stuff, like I tend to say she's mixed Māori, because otherwise it, different understandings of how you define ethnicity and stuff, I can understand that it gets like that. But yeah, I did that also because even in New Zealand media, I think more so now we're seeing it, but when I was a teenager and stuff, looking at like Māori stories on TV, it's like the nuance around people who are like me, wasn't there as such, So I kind of, that was intentional. And then when I'm writing like this Omegaverse story that, the Not Just Friends one, which I just actually can't actually publish it till next year, and it's still up on my pre-orders right now because I just have to sort a few other things out with Amazon before I cancel it. And that's not going to affect readers, like they don't get charged yet or anything like that. But that story is going to have 2 Māori MMCs out of 4 men.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and then I get to kind of play around with characters design with that. So, yeah, in terms of like even just down to skin tone and things like that. And how much connection someone has to back home, to like their marae and things like that. But yeah, for Ellie, because it was my debut, it felt safe to base her experiences as a Wahine Māori, like based on my own experiences in terms of reconnecting with Te Reo Māori, how much connection she has with the culture, how colonization has impacted her family, like, intergenerational trauma around loss of language and things like that. And it was easy to draw on my own experiences with that. But yeah, I just think it's important. It's important for people to read about different cultures in general, and who's going to write about Māori characters like other than Māori, people are going to get the representation right if they're definitely doing own voices and stuff. And it's not to say that you can't write outside of your own experiences, because you absolutely can and often should, with the use of sensitivity readers. But like, so many people didn't, I see so many reviews that are like, I knew nothing about Māori culture and stuff. And that's kind of why, I want to see more stories from Aotearoa, more stories from Polynesia getting out there. And even, like, I'm quite an advocate for authors from here writing in New Zealand English.
Yeah.
You don't have to put it in American English.
Mm-mm.
Like, our American audiences are capable of reading our extra U's and our extra L's. No one, like, because we read all of the American books in American English. Like,
And we understand it. Yeah.
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 And I think, like, we don't need to kind of like infantilize that audience
No.
by changing it,
Mm.
But particularly, obviously, like with a book set in New Zealand, it doesn't make sense to change it to American English anyway.
No.
But yeah, I do, because I hear, even for, like, say, like romantasy New Zealand authors, they'll talk about changing it to American English, and I'm like, why? If your book's like set in a different world, like, why?
Do whatever you want.
Do what you
Yeah.
want. You don't have to. Like, if you want to do that, that's fine. But I don't think you have to. And I do put a
Yeah.
disclaimer at the start of my books, because I know that other authors have been get reported on Amazon, and every time a reader uses the Kindle feature that says, like, there's a spelling mistake, what actually happens is, on the author's dashboard, it tells you that you've got errors, and if you get too many, then you can get penalized by Amazon. Like, your books can be at risk of being taken down. And I don't think readers realize that. They go, I'm helping the author by pointing out all these spelling mistakes. And on the other end, this company's wanting to, like, ruin your career,
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's other ways, and that's just a general thing. For, like, everyone, if you find a spelling mistake in an author's piece of writing, just DM them, or send an email. Like, that's far safer for the author's books than using the report function on Kindle, because
I didn't even know there was a report function on the Kindle.
yeah. I mean, yeah. So,
Yeah, I knew there was, but I didn't know that it actually, like, I mean, it makes sense, like, that Amazon will penalize authors. They do it all the time, but I actually didn't realize that was the case. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I think I think Opal Rain has spoken about it before, because she writes in Australian English, and it's happened to her. And because I knew that it had happened to her, that's why I put the disclaimer in the front of my books. And I don't have that issue, because I think people read their disclaimers and they go, okay, and then they just email me if there is a mistake. Yeah,
that's good.
There is one in Auckland Garden, and I just have been too lazy to update it. So every 6 months I get an email, and it's just the one typo, and I'm like, I appreciate that you've emailed me, and I just need to.
But, like, if you think about it, at the same time, like, I read traditionally published books and I spot mistakes. Like, we're human. Like, we make mistakes, and I don't like one spelling mistake or one comma being in the wrong place or whatever is not going to hinder me. And I think that indie authors get penalized a lot for something like that, and it drives me insane.
It is actually really interesting. And it's more on the first print runs when it comes to the trade pub books, because you do hear about, how many. There's been a few big trade pub books that have come out in the last few years, and people have catalogued how many spelling mistakes there were. Far more than any that have made it their way through my books,
Yeah.
But I mean, I've been really lucky. The ARC teams that I have tend to, like, if there is anything that slips through, I mean, because I use, like, myself, then my husband reads the draft as I go, then my alpha readers read it, and I have, like, a team of them, and then it goes to ARCs. So there's a lot of processes where anything gets picked up and stuff.
Yeah.
Damn. People just get so finicky over stupid stuff.
Different people have different kind of fixations, right? On stuff. Like, a spelling error doesn't bother me at all. But then, like, I used to be a high school teacher, like if spelling's the thing that you're worried about, then that's the wrong job for you, because
Yeah.
like in that old job, the idea was always to understand what someone was saying, not exactly how they're saying it, because of course you have students with dyslexia and things like that. Like I'm testing them on their understanding, not on their grammar or their spelling. And so it's the same with, the odds. I mean, obviously, if you had a book riddled with errors, like that would take you
that's
out of it.
different.
But the odd spelling mistake never bothers me personally. Yeah.
All right. So moving on. Where am I? Why do you think monster romance as a genre is so popular? Fuck, guys. Right, wait, I know what that's Sunday.
It's okay, Bree. Take a breath.
Guys, I have to go back to work tomorrow. And what do you most enjoy about writing it? That's the end of my question.
Okay. I think it's popular because, I mean, you hear people joking about human men, men in general.
We joke about that all the time.
But I think you can say that about like so many MMCs, like contemporary MMCs and stuff as well, and things like that. But I think also some of the tropes they just hit right for some people. Like one of the main tropes with monster romance, if it's MF, is size difference. Like that's a big one. It's, I mean, not always, but like often the monster males are like much larger than the females, and it doesn't matter what size the female is. It's just like they're like 8 foot tall or whatever, So it's like, we don't get 8 foot tall humans typically. So yeah, so I think there's just an element of that, like and different people like different things. Like, to be honest, I'm not really a tentacle person, so I haven't written one yet. Although I think at some point I'll write a kraken.
Hell yeah.
But that's not typical. But things like werewolves and like teeth and biting and claws and stuff like that. I like that kind of aesthetic, so I will write it. Yeah. And I think it's the same for readers. Like when I'm reading monster romances, it's that kind of thing, that, yeah. I think it just like hits something in your brain sometimes,
It's also, it kind of feels like a little taboo as well at the same time. Like, especially when it's like werewolf and he's actually in his werewolf form, and it's just a little bit like tantalizing, and it's just different. I think that's
not if you played Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes. It's like titillating a little bit and stuff. And there was for a long time I was a faceless author account. Like, didn't do any kind of podcast with video or anything like that because of the taboo nature of it, But I've kind of realized that it would take a lot for like anything like this to breach containment. And nothing has at this point. Like, even me going to Ages of Pages and people taking pictures of me, that hasn't gone beyond the book world. So I feel safer now. And like, I tell people in real life that I'm an author and that I'm a romance author, but I just stop there. So what's your pen? I'm saying my pen there.
Yeah.
What do you write? Oh, I just write romance. I just write romance. I don't say she fucks an 8.5 foot werewolf, like,
and that's all you need
to far. Somehow Instagram did share my author account to, like, I don't know how it, I do know, I changed phones, and then suddenly I got this message from an antenatal group mum, and we were all like, we used to hang out like all the time. This isn't why we don't hang out now or anything.
Good.
No, but we had already, like, our kids were like 3 by this point. But I got this random message on WhatsApp, and she's like, so and so found your account, and I think it's really cool, and no one's judging you. That was how she like led it. No one's judging you, blah blah blah.
Everyone's judging. That's how you know.
So on my author Instagram, I went and blocked every single person at that point. Blocked the chick who had found me, apparently. But then I tried to make a joke of it with this mum, because at this point in time, I was researching for Lost and Found, and Zach is a male entertainer, and there's there's male entertainment shows in Auckland. So I was like, "Do you want to come with me to like a strip show?" I haven't heard from this woman since. That was a step too far.
You found her limit.
I did. I was like,
So
fuck.
funny.
Versus, so one of my sisters knows my pen name and has read some of my books. Because I did that post one time and people loved it, went nuts when she read A Wolf in the Garden and said this is the dirtiest book I've ever read in my life.
That's right.
Glowing review.
But and so I messaged her when what was it? It was Magic Men. So it's the Australian guys that tour the world. And so it was a few months ago that they came here, and the Facebook obviously knows me, so they shared. I got that ad, and I was like, I'm just buying 2 tickets, and I already know my sister will say yes. So I was like, do you want to come with me to the show? She's like, yep. I'm like, it's research. I said to my husband, it's research. He's like, sure it is. I'm like, no, it is. I'm expanding Lost and Found. I want to go to this show. Yeah.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
I also love that your husband reads your first drafts as well. Like,
yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
How does he find that? Does he love it?
Yeah, I mean he enjoys them, and he's not normally a reader. So
that's so good.
Before my books, the only novel he'd read was Twilight because I forced him back when we were 18. Yeah, seriously. And I forced him to read Twilight, and then he hadn't picked up a novel since then.
You traumatized him.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, he's just not normally a reader, but he's an amazing proofreader. So he's really good at picking up stuff, and he also is just like kind of like a bluntly honest man. So he will tell me if a scene isn't working or something. And it gives me a lot of, I trust his opinion a lot. So there hasn't been too many scenes in the course of things where he said like this doesn't work. But when he has, it does actually make a really good impact on the story. So for Hal, chapter 1, I ended up writing 5 times, and like because one of the iterations he was just like, this is dragging too much. This is dragging too much. It's too slow. I don't need this information here, and things. And it really, really helped, So his feedback's really good.
Oh, that's so good.
But yeah, it's like I don't have a problem with him reading the spice and stuff. We joke about the pornographic aspect of everything and stuff. Like he doesn't care. I don't care,
Yeah.
It's like, to me, I'm like, how is this any different to when we used to watch Game of Thrones together, like, and all of those, it's like, or whatever, I'm not bothered. I know, different couples have different limits of things, but I'm 0% bothered.
I love that. That's so good.
Yeah. And he read Aliana Lee's The Scent of Us. Like I said, like, you've got to read this. He was like I think he was quite stressed out last year. And I said, you just need something to like calm you down. Like, here's my Kindle, read this book. It's fantastic. Plus I'm going to move into Omegaverse, and you need to understand how Omegaverse works. So he read those books and he really enjoyed them. He loved them. But yeah,
that's so good. I love that.
Yeah.
I like it. Here's my Kindle.
Yeah. Have at it.
Yeah. I would love for him to read more. But he's just like, he's been really busy this year. We all have been, and so reading my stuff is kind of like what he's managed to do, is read my drafts as I go.
So good.
Oh, good on him.
Yeah.
What a good egg.
Yeah, he's a good man.
So I love the aspect of mutual masturbation in Lost and Found and the post you made about it on Instagram. Why was
Yeah.
it important to you to feature this aspect in the book?
Just because, like, I think it's important to not just always have the same sort of like P and V as the end point of sex. I think that there's like romance novels can just be entertainment. That is totally fine and totally valid. But I do think also, like, if you're not just writing one book, if you're a romance author that is doing, like, you know, like you're playing on a whole career in it, then you can add in layers of like responsibility in terms of making sure that you represent, you know, various different situations and scenarios and stuff. And like I said on Instagram, obviously this is a ghost story. This isn't how things happen in real life and stuff. But the idea that sometimes sex, as in, like, you know, penis and vagina sex for an MF couple, like that sometimes doesn't always work. And it might be a short-term issue. It might be a long-term issue. And there's other ways for couples to experience pleasure. Like the idea of mutual masturbation as a tool, even for like contraception, has been around. You know, because my background's history, so it's like I know this from like Tudor Stuart times. This is what people used to do, you know, to avoid getting pregnant, as couples would do that kind of thing instead. So yeah, so I just am like, yeah, it's important to include like a variety of intimacy. If you're going to be writing spicy scenes, you know, it doesn't hurt to include this kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And it shows that people who struggle with like that type of sex, that you still can have intimacy and pleasure, and you don't have to be afraid of being in a sexual relationship because you don't have to do those things that don't make you comfortable.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is with the ghost and an orc, so obviously things are see-through, things don't work, but it gives people an opportunity to be seen, which I love.
Yeah, and then like another post, like I was a collaborator in it, but I did like it was like an online, like I just typed up my answers interview with another author called Anne and Bree, and she had asked me, can't remember what, I think she said, like, do you write open door, and why is it important? And I had said also about how, like, for me, writing open door romance is really important because there's so many readers out there, particularly women, and particularly women from the United States, that have escaped purity culture and are still sort of on a journey of that, in terms of like becoming okay with pleasure, with masturbation, with things like that, because there's a lot of shame that gets laid on from various outside sources, and like for me personally, even reading romance helped me with that. So I can see it's like I don't think I'm an anomaly. I actually think that there's a lot of people out there like that. We're reading romance and seeing characters not be afraid to like use a vibrator, or not be afraid to touch themselves, or not be afraid to have sex and not have hang-ups around, you know, purity, or you know, talking about past partners, or whatever. That all helps. That actually helps. Like yeah. So I think it's important to include that as well. And there's so many amazing authors that do that include these concepts and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really important. And I've seen so many articles online, and it's like, oh, the rise in like porn books and all this sort of stuff, and it's like that's not the point. Like, yeah, some of the books are like highly spicy and just a fun time, but there's also, it's showing women that you don't have to be afraid of it. You don't have to be afraid to have a one night stand, or you don't have to be afraid of just getting married and being with the same person for the rest of your life. Like that's, or like people exploring kink and BDSM, and there's so many new things that women or men who are reading these books are like opening their eyes to, and like, oh, that sounds interesting, that's fun, I want to try that. And I just really think it's important
Exactly. And I mean,
yeah,
obviously there's unethical porn, and that's not good.
yeah,
But there's a lot of ethical porn out there as well, and it's like, if people want to engage in watch porn or whatever, like, who cares? Like, they're allowed to. There's a sex therapist. Her Instagram is the Sex Doctor. I've forgotten her name. But she talks about, particularly, again, she talks from woman's pleasure, and about how, for a lot of females, the way that people's desire, like, builds is reactionary. So it's like, kind of, you need to get in the mood slowly first, and sometimes it might be that you need to read a spicy book, or you need to do this and stuff, and then that helps, and that's often what's missing for people or something.
yeah,
And so for her, like, porn is something that, for her clients, she might actually recommend,
yeah.
So it doesn't have to be this demonized thing.
No, definitely
But
not.
we know, like, with the current politics of the states and stuff, that it is something that gets demonized by, like, Christian nationalists and stuff. Yeah. So I'm anti
Infuriating.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I'm looking at my list. Where am I up to?
Here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is we're both looking at the dock, and I just have no idea where I am. I get distracted I'm like, yes.
And I know that I'm a rambler, so, like, you can ask me a question and I'll end somewhere
That's
else.
That's what we do. We do side quests all the time.
we're just full of side quests, and then I get distracted by other things going on around me. I'm in my room, but I get distracted by all these other things going on in my own space. What is your favorite part of the writing process, from initial idea to final draft?
Just writing. So the thing with me is that I actually only really write one draft. I edit as I go. So I'm not someone that writes a whole book and then tears it apart and then rewrites it 5 times. I think that would be torture. Um,
I would
so
agree.
yeah, so I've slightly updated my process in that now I will write ahead a little bit. If I've got, like, a little scene that's popped into my head, I might go and write some dialogue for it.
Mm.
And because I write in Scrivener, I have, like, each chapter sort of, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got the whole list, and they're just empty docs, and I can go and pop them in, and I can shift them around wherever. But in general, I write in chronological order. I will line edit as I go, which, like, is not the way that, you hear this myth on the internet, like, just write the draft, don't edit as you go. Well, no, there's no hard and fast rules when it comes to writing. Everyone's process is different. Anyone that tells you that there's only one way to do stuff, they are blatantly wrong. Like, because
They're
there
liars.
isn't. They're liars. You have to find what works for you. So there kind of isn't, like, a step one, but the ideation phase, where I think of things, like, that's obviously fun, but I get to a point where, if I don't write stuff down, I start feeling, like, a little bit mad if I've got all of the stories in my head. So I always say that writing is really cathartic for me. Sorry, I'm just, like, shifting around on this couch because my legs are getting uncomfortable.
Do what you gotta do.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, um, so just sitting down and writing in peace, like, that's nice for me, especially on a day when the words are flowing. Obviously, there's times where things get stuck, and I get frustrated with that. If I get stuck on a chapter for too long, and normally that's a sign that I need to put the draft down and step away for a couple of weeks and then come back to it. But yeah, my typical, like, where I get ideas from is plugging in my headphones and going for a walk. I've not been able to do that this pregnancy. I haven't really been allowed to exercise. since 16 weeks. It's been like
Oh.
less advised. So that's
This kid better come out cute.
yeah. I'm not allowed to do anything. Like it's really annoying.
That kid
Yeah.
better come out so freaking cute, and you'll be like, you were worth it, but don't do this to me again.
Yeah, I'm done. I think because I've got private OBs for this one, and it's very lucky that I do. And they were like that just at a recent appointment. She was like, "Do you want me to snip your tubes while I'm in there? Because I'm having a C-section." And I was like, "You know what? Yeah, like let's just do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I might as well." I was like, "Yeah, like
Yeah.
we're done. We're done." Yeah. But yeah, so normally it's walking, but showers also like where I think a lot of people get ideas in the shower, you know, and then it's just a matter of writing it down. Um, editing, my self edits is probably like my most like meh phase. So like once I've done the whole chapter, then obviously I'll go through and then I'll read it again and stuff. And then it's just a matter of it goes to my husband first. Like I said, he'll send me the fixes, but it's normally not much. It'll be like a couple of spelling mistakes and like this is a weird sentence or I don't understand this. And then sometimes he'll say something and I'll go and I'll like take my laptop and be like, when you said this, like this isn't what I meant. You know, I'll argue with him, you know, about it and stuff. But then I'll be like, no, I understand. If you're not picking it up, then I have to make it clearer, blah blah blah, you know, whatever. And then I'll send it on to the alpha readers, and they each get their own individual document. And then they do their feedback on Google Docs, and then I do that, and then it goes on to the editor once it's done. Yeah. So
I love seeing everyone's like different ways of doing stuff. It's so fun.
It's probably one of my favorite questions that like to ask with every author that we talk to, because everyone's got such different processes, and it's like the way that everyone's brains is just so different. And I love just seeing how people are wired. I mean, I'm fascinated with people's brains anyway.
yeah.
So it's just so interesting to see how authors, you know, have their process and, you know, what works, what makes them tick and make their book tick along the way that it ticks.
And it's very particular because it's like, you know, you hear about some authors that have to have like lo-fi music going on the background or whatever. And it's like for me to think of ideas, like I have a playlist and I develop the playlist as I go through the book. And I need to do some marketing around like the playlist for Lost and Found and stuff because there is one available on Spotify for people to listen to. But I need to add a few more songs for the expanded version. But and those are the ones that I thought of the ideas to, like the book too often. That's really important. But when it comes to writing, like I have to write in silence. And like if my husband's working from home too, and we share the same office, it's like even just the sound of him, like if he's eating lunch and it's like chewing, I'm like,
can you not?
It's so loud. You know? Or he'll like get distracted on like, you know, he'll be watching like a clip from a basketball game or something on his phone, and I'm like, can you use headphones for that, please? You know, like little things like that, you know. So actually, often these days, one of us will end up working. Well, typically me because he needs like 3 screens for his thing, so he's got all his monitors set up. So I'll come out to the couch and just work on the couch if he's working from home and stuff. But yeah, everyone's got their different processes.
Yeah.
What are your favorite scenes from each book?
Oh my goodness. Okay, I do love the scene where Ellie first sees Van again because I think that's like that kind of moment. And also the moment that like Van realizes that she's around as well. Yeah. And then I don't know. Like I mean, there's a whole lot of scenes that I love in The Wolf in the Garden. And how again, I think it's the meet. It's often the meet cutes that I like, you know. And I think those are quite important scenes. So like with how they're both wolves. One's a werewolf, one's a wolf shifter. and they're fated mates, and wolves know this by scent, typically. So it's like it hits different, and so when they scent each other, it's like very obvious. They suddenly realize immediately, and that's a very fun scene to like play out, particularly if you've got there are two different subspecies that aren't supposed to typically be together. There are examples of couples like that, but especially not fated mates. So it's a very kind of like it adds tension to the story. So yeah, I do really like that scene. And yeah, with Zack and Rose, I do think it's actually like the first spicy scene, like we've talked about, for the reasons that it's like different, because of the ghostly nature that she actually isn't physically there. she's got no physical form. She looks physical, but she's see through.
She's very see through.
Yeah, and she goes through his body essentially. Yeah. So how they manage that and actually make it a spicy scene still is that's fun. That's fun to do. Yeah, but I do also like when he first sees her, because you know, that was fun to do. His character's he's such a sweetie, Zach, and
he's such a cinnamon roll, and I love him.
Yeah.
Looks
And
like
I like doing
roll as a cinnamon roll.
Yeah, and but you know, like he's like 7.5 foot tall or something. You know, like he's a big guy, but he's like terrified of this ghost, you know, at first and stuff. So it's like it's fun, you know, it's fun to do. Yeah.
Building on from that question, then, what was your favorite quote from each book?
Oh my god, it's and you know, I haven't even talked about A Breath of Fresh Air, because like that's my novella as well. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, God, it's hard to remember these things. I write these books and then it's like, ooh, you know? I'll just flick through now and I'll see if I find some. I don't know. There's one that I know some of one of my readers absolutely loves, from Hal, where West says it's always fun seeing you, sweetheart, and that's like, yeah, you like that. Now you don't know what this is about.
No, I don't, but I look forward to reading it.
Yeah.
I only recently read Hal. I was scared. Like, to be fair, I was scared to read Hal because I did not like him in A Wolf in the Garden, but I knew like why he is the way that he is, and I was like, right, just do it. And as soon as I started it, I was like, I love this man. I love Brian. Like, I just love them all.
The tricky thing with A Wolf in the Garden and Van, and like I love Van. It's not like I don't like him. I love him, but he's an unreliable narrator. Like, or he, you know, it's and a lot of characters are like, really all characters. Everyone's biased in their own way and stuff. Him and Ellie are both, and when it comes to certain aspects of certain relationships with other characters, their narration around it is very much from their point of view, and at that point in time in the story as well, where things are quite fresh and quite hurt, you know. And so as the story goes on, as the series story goes on, we're gonna, you know, we see more and more about the other sides and about how things actually played out, and why things felt the way that they felt. There's a novella that I wrote for Renegade Romance, and it's in the Renegade Romance anthology. So people who signed up to that already have the ebook, and they're going to get it's a book box, so they're going to get the physical anthology. But I get the digital rights back midway through this month. I'm in the process of setting up the pre-order for it, and I'm going to be releasing it at the end of this month. This novella, it's a Van and Ellie novella, so it follows. It's like their sequel, and it's a further like 2 and a bit years from this story. And so it actually takes place in the months before Lost and Found. So it all ties in. But in that story, you see more of both Van and Ellie's point of view, around some of the stuff, particularly to do with West, and actually their updated thinking on things and stuff. So
Yeah.
it forms a bigger picture. But yeah, so it is tricky because West here is like Van's dad and that's Van's mum, and yeah, in A Wolf in the Garden, he is the antagonist. He like West is the he's like, I don't think he's a bad guy, but he's like people don't like him. And I can
There's
see
a lot
why.
of pain. There's a lot of
Yeah, and just the way that
hard feelings.
the things that he says like on page and stuff, I can understand it, but I'm like, I need readers to read it because it's like, one, I love Howl. It's a really good it's weird to like, I don't want to, it's a good book, but
It is a good book.
but I really like, out of my books, I really have a soft spot for that novel, and I think it's a really lovely love story between Bronte and West. So yeah, but yeah, it's so yes. So going back to the quotes, I'm like what? But yeah, so that's one of my favorite quotes from Hal. Honestly, I think one of the final quotes from A Breath of Fresh Air, there's something about I don't know. It's like I love you, and he says it so simply, and suddenly it is kind of like, like it's written better than that. But like I like that quote. Honestly, I couldn't tell you from The Wolf in the Garden what my favorite quote is and stuff. I think I have written one down before. People who have a signed copy from Ages of Pages have the favorite quote in the front of their book, and they can remind me what it is. Like,
let me
Hold
on.
on.
Let me find my book.
I think I've written it down. Like, I mean, if people requested it, I wrote it down in there. So yeah, maybe you requested it.
It's Anne. I'm sure she did.
Yeah.
Wait, where is it?
At the front. It would be at the front if I did write it.
No.
Oh, I didn't. Oh no.
I think I was like one of the first people to come to you anyway, because like I ran in the door. Like, I cannot not get my Allegra books.
Yeah. But I think honestly, like at that point, for that sign, because I knew that people would ask for that, I like went onto like the popular highlights and like found like what is it, what are the, and like I don't disagree like that they're good quotes or anything, but yeah, it's been, I mean, it's been 2 years since I finished writing this book, so it's been a long time.
I just have to ask a hard question at least once.
Always.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, and Lost and Found, trying to think. Because I don't even have my physical copies yet. They're on the way to me, I guess. Amazon's printing them. I only just built the paperback this last week, Yeah. I'm trying to think. I honestly don't know. I don't know. I like the whole book. They're very sweet together.
They're very.
Yes.
It's very sunshine.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
it is.
And I loved it. I was sitting there like at night, just sitting there going. I'm pretty sure my flatmate at some point could probably hear me going.
Aww.
Just laughing to myself, going, "This is so freaking adorable. I love it."
Yeah.
I did. I sent a photo to my friend of what I was doing. I was lying in bed and I had my Kindle was open, so I sent a photo of the Kindle, and she's like, "Oop, that's spicy." And I'm like, and I'm like, I know she's not going to judge because I mean it's Zoe, but I was also just like, well, it's a good thing that my mother didn't say, "What you doing?"
Yeah.
So which was the hardest story to write? Wolf in the Garden, Howl, Lost and Found, or A Breath of Fresh Air? And why do you think so?
Um, if I okay, Lost and Found, when I was expanding it, I had to put it down for a while because when I was working on it, the expanded version, first I was reading through and then like editing, making small edits and additions to the chapters that already existed. So there's actually only a couple of paragraphs from like in the chapters that already existed because it was first published in an anthology. But still, it required me to read through and go through everything. So I had really severe morning sickness at the time, and suddenly the whole like lots of cum coming out of an orc just
Uh,
Yeah, I can see
I
how
just
that would
couldn't.
do that.
And normally, no, and I couldn't tell. I felt like, I mean, I'm telling you now, but it's like, it's not great advertising to be like, my own book made me vomit. You know? I had to
What?
stop because I
Well,
was
that's
like,
really, really good advertising. I
I
think
mean,
there's an opportunity there, Allegra. This is like yeah, that's an opportunity. Use it.
I'm
hey,
not.
Morning Glory Milking Farm.
Which I'm listening to currently, by the way.
Yeah, so I'm
There's a
obviously I'm not bothered by it normally, and I'm not bothered by it now. But yeah, when I was like in the peak of morning sickness,
oh,
God.
I
that'd be
just couldn't.
rough.
I couldn't read the cum scenes, and yeah, so I just had to stop. I had to stop that draft. I was like, actually, I just cannot. So yeah, that's probably the weirdest answer you'll ever get to like what book was the hardest to write. But there you go.
I love
Yeah,
that.
wow.
So
I wasn't
I
expecting
don't love
that.
that too, but
Yeah.
it's hilarious. That is what I needed today.
Yeah.
That is what I needed to hear.
Yeah. So yeah, that's better work stories, eh? Yeah.
Authors have
um.
them all.
We
Yeah.
do so many random things on this podcast.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great.
But other than that, probably like A Wolf in the Garden, 50,000 words were chopped out for various
Oof.
things, and a lot of it was like rewrites of chapters and stuff.
Yeah.
Things where it's like I thought I'd go one way, and I wrote it, and I always find like that's kind of the way that I just draft. Unfortunately, is like sometimes I'll write an entire chapter and then go, this doesn't work, and we're changing direction. And I think just with it being a debut and a longer novel, there was more of that. So so yeah, so that's always kind of frustrating when you waste time, but then you just have to think it's not a waste. It's just the way that writing happens, and I think it happens to a lot of authors. And there's a saying like about killing your darlings. You know, like sometimes you have a chapter that you might love, and you might like love the concept of, but it doesn't fit in the narrative of the story, so it has to go. There's a chapter like that currently in the because I kind of like slightly expanded the draft again of this Renegade Romance anthology piece. So when I publish it on Amazon, it's going to be called Change the Plan, a Van and Ellie story, and I've just decided that there's a basically almost a B plot that I'm taking out, and I'm saving the concept of it for a later one of the big books. So the event that was going to be featured, which is featuring Ellie, even though she won't be a main character in the next main book, she will still be a character. And so what happens in the scene that I had already written is going to happen in that book instead. And it just fits better in the universe, like in the series timeline, to do it that way. But it's always annoying when you have to, it's like, I've written 2,000 words, they sound nice, you know, they're fine, but actually then you know that they fit better somewhere else, or that they just don't fit at all. Yeah.
Alrighty, so I think that's all the questions that we have. Is that right?
Yes.
Cool. So, at the end of every episode, we talk about our spark of joy and a plug of the week. So, our spark of joy can be anything that sparked a bit of joy for us during the week, just to keep a little bit of positivity. And plug of the week can be anything that you want to plug, recommend. It could be anything from food to something very
Profound.
philosophical. So, Bree,
Yourself.
or yeah,
Or
plug
can
yourself.
I just say that because that's a really weird sentence that I just said.
So, Bree, what is your spark of joy for the week?
My spark of joy of the week was the end of the week. I'm really glad it's over, guys. It's been a really, really long, interesting week. I've seen some things I wish I hadn't seen. I've smelled some things I wish I hadn't smelled. I'm a nurse. I see some things, and this week kind of really topped it for me. And I don't think I'm going to peak any further than I have. I am.
no.
This is also a delusion. I probably will be able to top that, but you had some news that that I knew was going to happen, but I was like kind of a bit fucked off that it had actually happened, and then it's just been a bit of a week. So when getting to the end of it, and then I got to spend time with we had our Christmas do on Friday, and then I had a Halloween party yesterday, which I won the award for being the most saintly looking.
Beautiful.
As definitely not a angelic person. I was agent of chaos. So it's just nice to kind of be at the end of the week and know it's a new week, new shit can happen.
Yeah.
As long as it wasn't, it's not
Yeah.
like last week. I swear to God, I'm gonna fucking lose it.
Yeah.
Anne, what is your spark?
My spark of joy is reading the acknowledgements of Rumors of Rage and Revenge by Celia Rourke. So if you don't know, I have recently become the PA for Celia. And I was flying through the ARC, making sure all the formatting was good before we sent it out to ARC readers. And my name was found in the back of the acknowledgements with a very sweet note that made me cry, but really brought a spark of joy to my life. I've been following Celia and being kind of part of her whole author journey right from the beginning of her debut. So just seeing the end of her trilogy come to an end, and also then having my name in the back of her third book, was just really beautiful, and it was really special. So that was my spark of joy for the week.
Lovely.
What was yours, Allegra?
Shopping. but online shop. Well, no. So I'm part of the Dahlia buy, sell, and swap Facebook group for New Zealand. For like dahlia bulbs, like flowers to grow in your garden, and because Facebook has, I guess, observed me clicking on it a few times now, I get like every post like just handed to me, and I have in the last 2 weeks become a little bit addicted to like buying bulbs from other people to like plant in the garden. Yeah, like I need to stop now because I'm running out of room. Like, but I'm very excited. I'm very excited for the flower farm that I shall have in like January. Yeah. So that's my highlight has been like the dopamine hit that I get every time I message someone and go, "Do you have a cafe au lait available?" And they go, "Yes," and I'm like, "I shall buy that bulb." Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of been my highlight. I guess the other one is I've lost track of time, but I feel like it's within the last week that I managed to get the paperback done and dusted and on sale for Lost and Found, and it looks gorgeous. So I don't have a copy at all. I get my proof copies sent to my editor in the States because they arrive in 2 days rather than like a week plus for us here, just because ours get printed in Australia and they've then got to fly over to New Zealand and then go through New Zealand Post and get to us. So so it's just faster to do it that way, and then she'll send me a video and pictures of the book, and I trust her to be like, this is good to go, or here's a mistake. Like for some reason, the barcode, the way that I'd first set it out, the barcode was covering some of the blurb on the back, so I had to change that, and then so that's all done now, and I can't wait to get my hands on. Like, I love getting the physical copies of my book.
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And
Alrighty. Moving into plug of the week. Bree, what do you plug this week?
I'm gonna plug the sour apple sugar-free Rockstar.
Nice.
I live on caffeine, and it is the one thing at the moment that is getting me through because it's sour and it's caffeine. And I've got one in my fridge for tomorrow for work because I just know that Monday is just it's gonna Monday. So it's I will always, when I saw that they had that Rockstar had a sour apple, I'm like, sign me up. I've tried their other sugar free ones and I'm like, no, this is the one. This is this is my one for me. So if you like caffeine, if you like energy drinks, and you don't want the sugar that'll eventually, kill your insides like it would kill mine, try that one. What is your plug, Anne?
Mine is a little bit practical this week. So in the last week, we have had 2 major power cuts up in Northland. First one was because a tree hit the line, took it out for like hours and hours and hours. And then the second one was there was actually an explosion in the substation, which threw out a bunch of the equipment. So I want to plug setting yourself up for power cuts, especially if you live in Northland. Okay.
Yeah.
We go camping, so we have a lot of stuff in our house already. So I would say like having bottled water, having big bottles of water for your toilet, having like freeze-dried meals that you can just boil water and have to cook if you don't have anything else, or having like a little gas stove in your house if you don't have a gas stove, which we're lucky that we do, so we can still cook. But yeah, just setting yourself up, because shit can go bad very quickly, and we were lucky that we did get power 5-6 hours later. But if it was any worse than it could have been days before we had power. So I would definitely recommend just getting those little things, even having like portable power banks so you can charge your phone, keep in touch with people. I have like these little lights that you can plug into your portable charger so you can light up the house during the night, things like that. So just setting yourself up because, guys, it's been rough.
Yeah.
So what's your plug, Allegra?
My plug, I'm going to plug a book that's not mine. Emily Antoinette's latest release, which is it's Feeling the Heat. So it's an Omegaverse, and because her and I share the same universe for the series, so hers it's actually a duet. So the next book is coming out really soon, and then that completes the story for those characters. And yeah, my duet will come out next year, and I'm trying to draft a holiday novella in the same series that I can release like the same week that my baby's born. We'll see if I get there.
Jesus.
We'll see if I get there. It's like a little challenge, like people used to do NaNoWriMo. I'm like, I'm going to do OVWriMo, and I'll see if I get there or not. And if I don't, I don't. If I do, I do. If I don't, I'll publish it next Christmas instead. But yeah, so Emily and I have kind of built the universe and the world building together. We've had a lot of fun chats around, like alpha ruts and omega heats and all that stuff. And so yeah, she's got this fantastic book out, and the next one coming out like in the next couple of weeks. So go check out her story. Yeah,
I have it on my Kindle. I've been following Emily for a while, and I've read a couple of her books, and this one I've been so excited about, especially seeing the artwork.
Yes, yeah, and
guys,
there's a lot of yeah.
It's so good. I also have her arc for her Christmas one that's coming out. The what's it called? He sees you when you're sleeping. No, yeah, is that right?
Yeah,
I've got that one as well, which I'm so excited about.
Yeah, She writes some amazing books. So yeah. Yeah, so that's my
Alrighty, so that is the end of our episode. Thank you so much for joining us today. Make sure to subscribe so we know you're here listening. We appreciate you spending time with us today and every day. You can follow us at the Broke Book Girls podcast on Instagram and TikTok. You can find me at Runaway Irish Girl on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Goodreads, Pagebound, wherever pretty much. Bree, where can they find you?
You can find me at Cheese and Reads, just wherever. I don't care anymore. Find me, don't find me. I'm just, it's this, guys, it's hot. I feel like I'm dying now. I need to go touch the concrete and lie on it.
The concrete?
It's
That'll
been
be hot,
raining.
won't it?
It's been raining, so I'm gonna go and lie
Nice.
on the wet concrete.
Nice.
Allegra, where can people find you?
The best place is on Instagram at author.allegra.hall. And from there you can find my card and the link in my bio, and it's got everything. Sign up to my newsletter. Just a plug for all author newsletters, because we know that social media changes all the time. Sometimes people's accounts get nuked by Meta or whatever, TikTok. I had one of my TikTok accounts just like melt in front of me after I'd done something wrong, literally.
Oh, no.
And so it's best to sign up to an author newsletter just so that you don't lose track of the author. But yeah, you can find all my books on Amazon. Just search Allegra Hall, and they'll come up. Yeah.
Amazing. All of Allegra's links will be in our description as well. So if you can't find her by searching yourself, we'll have a very quick and easy way for you to find that.
I'm not gonna insult people.
So make sure to subscribe or follow on your listener of choice, and check back in every Wednesday for a brand new episode. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks for having me.